ending, but here we go. I found it now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game of Nodes, the Validator podcast. This week, we're abandoned by the rest of the crew. Shultzie, Frey, and Uncle Dad won't be joining us. They're all partying or preparing for partying, apparently. However, the day has been saved by Rarma and Bendy, both putting up their hands and saying, fuck it, the show must go on. Sub me in, coach. So here they are. Welcome, guys. And thanks for coming on to save the stream. And thanks for ruining my morning. I had deleted the stream schedule and gone on to do other work, but now postpone that to run back for all the fans. Thank you two guys for joining in the comments. Lil D. So
we couldn't let down the one or two viewers that watch religiously every single week. I think it would be unfair. They wouldn't have anything to do for their hour and a half.
Well, to be fair, they're now on the stream, so
you're right. I wouldn't have had anything to do for an hour and a half.
I mean, yeah. See, this is my first week of unemployment at this time of night for a while, so I can actually join the stream.
Can you elaborate on the whole unemployment situation, Bendy?
I mean, like I say, unemployment. I have a full-time job that I'm employed by, but I have left well, no, actually, I haven't because it doesn't exist in sort of start again. So I used to work for Atom Accelerator now, and I was still part-time there. They've come to the end of the 9-month mandate, and I have decided not to continue that. They will be definitely looking for a second term, and to be honest, trying to do a full-time job and a part-time crypto job that was becoming increasingly full-time wasn't great for my work-life balance because it was just turning into a sort of work-work balance. So yeah, I think. And look, they were very good, and they tried to do some. They tried to accommodate me and my lack of time. But then I was like, well, to be honest, if I'm doing that, A, it might not be fun for me, and B, it probably isn't good value for the community. So now I can just shitpost on Twitter and enjoy trying to find airdrops, because I think that's the way to make it.
Look, all anyone really wants to do in crypto is mine airdrops and shitpost on Twitter. So, in that respect, I think you've made the right choice.
Yeah, why do anything productive, right?
You're missing one component. You have to join a cult.
If you try to do anything productive, then inevitably people are going to take issue with the things that you've done. So, and then shit post about you, and then they're having all the fun. So,
yeah,
flip the script, quit the job, shit post everyone else.
I mean, like, one of the first things I did was I took on a bet with Polkadoo in turn, which is definitely a mistake on my part.
Yeah, well, what was the bet?
So he posted that he would bet anyone that Noble would not become an ICS chain. And we have now bet a 100 atom on whether it will or won't before the end of next year.
So which side of that bet do you have?
I'm saying it will be an ICS chain, and he is saying it won't be.
Well,
and he wrote a very long and detailed explanation full of lots of good reasons why it won't be. And I went, well,
and you just had, oh, Jelena loves Adam.
Pretty much. And also, like,
Yelena,
yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Jelena, because I know if she was to ever watch, she would get really upset that I said
Let's face it. Yelena is not watching this fucking show. She probably got much better shit to do.
I mean, the only thing better than being on the show is watching it and heckling from the comments. Yeah. My rationale was they've said they're going to do it. I assume that therefore Circle have kind of signed off on this, and unsigning off on it is probably more effort than migrating to ICS.
Like they can unsign off your access to your wallet anytime. I highly doubt like just not moving is an issue.
Little step.
Maybe.
Oh, I mean, I just love that Cosmos is like, we went, oh, we can't have Terra Luna, but let's let the government in. Like, hey, let's make our primary backed token something that's centrally controlled and overly regulated. Like, that's not going to be an issue in like a year's time after what's happened in the last few days.
Has been really adopted to like quickly.
It's like 20 mil so far, right? And it's like it's being pushed down everyone's throats. Like, hey, let's use this natively issued centralized currency that is going to apply to every single regulation that the US puts in. And if you touch it, they will blacklist your wallet whenever they want. And we think that's not going to be an issue. Like, come on, guys.
So I guess we already were really using it though, right? And like there is not really Axelar, any alternative. Like we're already using USDC Axelar or USDT, which is now Carver anyway. So I mean, but you need a safe haven, and they're like the really only ones that you can
exit through. Well, it's more like you can have decentralized finance, right? Like you can have alternate stable coins. None of them will allow you to like exit through into a bank. Like, so it's okay if you're happy to keep your currency in crypto, but if you want to go into your bank account, you have to go through Circle. Like they're one of the only issuers that will let you take money out that you can reliably back. So I get that.
So I never felt comfortable with the Terra stablecoin UST, but I kind of do feel comfortable, even though it's centralized as shit USDC and USDT. Like it depends on what kind of level of crypto maxi you are, I suppose.
The concern is more like after, and we'll talk about CZ later, but like they're not going to stop at central exchanges. Like the next 12 to 18 months they will be coming down hard on decentralized finance and DEXs, and any team that runs it and any currency that is run on it will be the next target. I can guarantee you. They're not going to stop at centralized exchanges. Like if you are a DEX team and you're based in America, you're next. They made that very clear in their announcement. And they'll do that.
They're all based in Panama, bro. They're all based in Panama. Or Cayman Islands.
Pretty sure Osmosis is based in America.
Well, the devs are there. I don't know.
They're not going to come after they're not going to come after Osmosis. They're going to come after the devs that built Osmosis that are based in America. And like
that's the thing. Like, if you're not a non,
founders, right?
If you're not an anon, and they know that you're a US citizen, doesn't really matter where the company is registered. I don't believe. I mean, like, my view is I really don't care too much about centralized stablecoins in the sense that pretty much if the government hates crypto, I won't be able to get any of my money back into a bank account that I can use. Like if in the UK, if they do that, they can draw up all the fiat on ramps and off ramps, and I'll be screwed. So I kind of the thing for me is that I sort of assume that the government will do whatever it wants to do, and it won't really matter whether that's on chain or off chain, and that ultimately crypto will need to interface with centralized things like governments and need to be able to be compliant. And I think that's where we're jumping ahead to CZ, but like that's where Coinbase I think are basically right, where they are trying to be compliant and they're trying to be law abiding as much as anyone can tell in that kind of regulatory environment. How that relates to the kind of wild west of what happens on chain where things are decentralized, like there's no bloody case law. Nobody knows. You don't know. I've got no idea if what I'm doing is correct or not. All I know is that if I pay my taxes, I probably won't go to prison.
That's kind of our philosophy. We just pay as much tax as we can, and hopefully they leave us alone.
I actually reviewed the Australian crypto regulations and laws, and a lot of it doesn't apply to like businesses that aren't offering solutions or like ICOs. It's like if you're a business or an entity, pay your tax and you can do whatever you want is like the Australian law currently. Like unless you're offering a centralized exchange or an ICO type solution, then there's additional regulations. But if you're just a business that's mining or validating or that sort of stuff, or doing solutions, it's basically do it, report it, do whatever you want. I was like, I just checked. I was like, oh, been shit posting a lot. Like, are there any marketing regulations in Australia about crypto? And there's not. It's just pay your tax, bitch, and continue. You're fine.
Well, there's still things that would kind of apply to shit posting and marketing, in that if you, and it's the same as the States, if you buy up a heap of something and then promote the shit out of it and then dump it, that's insider trading still. So
it's deceptive marketing is what I read. So it was the only thing that I could read.
Yeah, they don't take kindly to people who do insider trading here.
Well, Zeph.
Yeah. What's the other one?
It could go to $5, or it could go to negative $5.
Ballsack? Was Ballsack
Nutsack.
you been? Yeah. Nutsack.
Yeah, Nutsack. Yeah, like telling people when you buy something and that you bought it here and that it's a good product it's not insider trading. I'm publicly telling them. It's not like I bought it, sat on it for 6 months, and then went, come and buy this thing, now pump my bags.
So if you tell them, do you tell them the price that you bought it at, and then do you tell them when you dump it, or
do I have to?
I don't know.
No,
I'm not a marketer.
Just I know the laws. Nutsack because the name is Nutsack and it's hilarious.
I think there's also a thing, right, which is so it's not quite crypto law, but in the UK there are things around reviews. So if you review a product and you are associated with it, then you can't. Then your review is technically in breach of the rules, even if you are genuinely reviewing it. So when I worked for a marketing agency, we couldn't put reviews on pages of shows that we'd been to see or anything like that because we were connected to it. And that's considered to be deceptive, even if you gave it a shit review and rated it 1 star.
You're shorting it, basically.
So that's kind of, yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just can't touch it. I'm going to have to go and answer the door. So this is what happens when you jump in on the fly. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
I'm leaving it to 2 Australians to run the show. Okay.
Oh fuck! Look out. What else has been going on this week, Rarma? We've got. I see you've populated some items in the spreadsheet. I noticed you're not in the spreadsheet.
Yep.
Weirdly, though, the fray has just appeared in the spreadsheet, so that is.
Oh,
that's
okay.
different.
So he's getting in on the show while he's at a party, huh?
Well, yeah, he's at a gig. I don't know what gig he's at, but he's at a gig, which is why he can't be on the premises. So yeah, and Uncle Dad has taken the family on a trip, so they're out enjoying themselves as well. And Shultzie is preparing for a party. There is is Thanksgiving coming up soon in America.
Yeah,
when's
week, I think.
When's that scheduled?
Not my problem. It's an American thing. Yeah, it's within the next week. I know a few people have been putting turkey emojis here and there. All
right,
Turkey Death Day.
Yeah, Turkey Death Day.
I thought Shultzie wasn't here because he's on strike.
He's on strike? Well, he's on relaying strike, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first news item. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's dive a little bit further into that. So my understanding of this whole situation is, and it's not just Lavender.Five, and they're not quitting relaying or
strike.
validating.
I didn't say quitting. I said strike.
Yeah. So he's in the comments. Hi. It seems like probably the higher than usual live viewer count today is probably because the regular attendees are probably watching it even though they said they're doing something else.
Hmm.
So on the bench while you're stuffing the turkey up the arse. Right, gotcha. So the recent Cosmos prop, what is it, 848 or 843 or something like that?
It's it's one of the early ones. 848's the, let's change a parameter from 0.01 to 0.005 because everyone gives a shit about that, don't they?
So 84 something, which is the reduction in inflation on
848 is the inflation one.
What is it?
The one we're talking about is proposed by Notional to increase the global fee minimum gas price. There was three.
Oh, okay. So there's two. There's a reduction in inflation plus a increase in gas pricing.
There's more. So update global fee params to clear the minimum fee message types to avoid peer-to-peer spams described in an issue. So the hub, step back, the hub is like quite poorly configured in terms of Ertemann, hello, is quite poorly configured.
So just to interrupt Rarma, so for those who don't know Ertemann, who has just joined, for those listening, he is part of the crew at Lavender.Five, sent in here to defend themselves, probably, I'm assuming. Throw it into the gauntlet by the boss man. So sorry, please continue, Rarma.
Yeah, so the hub is like quite poorly configured, right? There's a thing called like the global fee module, and essentially when it was introduced, they said that everything, except for maybe one message type, can have zero gas. And what that does is open up the hub to like multiple attack vectors via spam and peer-to-peer kind of DOSing. So to remediate that, three proposals were put up. The first one was to like clear out the bypass minimum fee types to make it so there were no message types would be free. The next one was to update the minimum gas price to 0.005 atoms, which I believe that one's the issue. And then the third one was to change the block size from 200 kilobytes to 2 meg. And these three proposals were intended to reduce the attack vectors on the hub based on kind of spam transactions. The unintended impact of this, or unintended, the impact of this is the hub does thousands of transactions a day because of ICS and routing between various chains. That relayers went from paying, I think it was like 0.0002, maybe 3 atom per transaction, to like a 10x or more increase to 0.005 atom. So, your average relay was probably paying 5 to 7 atom a day. Now they're paying 50. So like a substantial increase in price, and commissions can't cover that. Profits on the hub don't come anywhere near covering that. And no one thought to like put in a plan to like maybe create a DAO to fund relayers due to this increased cost. And the relayers just had to bear the brunt of it in the short term. And for a lot of the teams, like that meant scaling back the amount of transactions they relay. Let some of the bigger relayers who have more funding kind of bear the brunt until other solutions can come in, which minimum they're going to take 2 to 3 weeks, right? Because you have to put a prop up on the forum, it has to pass, people have to get funded. AA DAO doesn't exist. So, and I think the last time I saw, there was like thousands of transactions that were pending for ICS because no one was like willing to relay them, which is not good. Like you need transactions to be relayed for ICS. So yeah, that's like the summary of it. I just like tongue in cheek of, Shultzie goes on strike because I thought he would be on the show and it'd be funny for him to come in and have to defend himself. But we've got Ertemann here instead to try and, protect the business. So Ertemann, please chime in. Tell us why I'm wrong and why Lavender.Five is the greatest validating and relaying business known to man. And you're not actually going on strike. You're actually doubling down. You are going to take over the #1 relaying spot of the hub just out of pride alone.
Yeah, we're on strike forever, probably. No, I don't think we'll ever take number one spots. Basically, I don't think it makes sense to do, to be honest. No, we've been sort of focusing or like doubling down on networks and channels that don't have enough support. So we're like relaying the most obscure channels known to man because we can bear the infrastructure costs. Means you do less transactions, but at least the random users on these channels that are actually very dedicated to either those networks or to using those funds in that specific route are not stuck. So it's like more support costs and like hours for random people coming into your Discord or Telegram DM saying, "Hey, my funds are stuck. Please help me," and less like optimizing your configuration to relay like hundred thousands of packets between Cosmos Hub and Osmosis or ICS chains. But yeah, I just checked the balance sheet on that smart stake dashboard, which it has a lot of shitty data, but it also has like some good data. At least it's helpful in many ways because you can quickly check who is like operating specific channels, at least to a certain degree. And besides like Pikachu, who for some reason has 180 ADAM in his wallet, and like Crypto Crew, who gets paid, it seems like basically everybody shut off their relayer. Like almost everybody has like a few atom in there, probably just to, like flush some channels and then fuck off again. But at least like Crow's Nest, I heard stop the relayer. We like let our wallet run out. Basically, I'll probably fund it back up again today or tomorrow for doing some items. Cosmos Spaces is out, who is one of the biggest relayers. ICCRO is out, who's normally transferring like 150,000 packets a month on Cosmos. He's like the biggest hub relayer besides Crypto Crew, who has like a grand. So yeah, but anyway, we're all chatting in back channels and like creating our coup, our relaying
Yeah,
coup.
the proper cartel. Just stop IBC, and then the cartel can really play.
I
think
brilliant.
Like, actually having a cartel would probably be quite good for performance. Relayers.
I mean, if there actually was a cartel, things would be a lot better. You know, a benevolent cartel is what we need, or a cult, depending on your view. I think
cartels won't make you rich. Cults will make you rich.
Yeah,
I think cartel will make you pretty rich, and it will make you like, oh, like I'm happy. But a cult, that's fuck you money.
Hey guys, I just need to drop out here for a second and come back. Hopefully that doesn't mean that this stream ends. But
don't need to announce your exit, mate. We're fine here. Thank you.
If it does, it's the shortest appearance of any guest ever.
Well, at least they let you speak. I mean, well, we have let you speak. I mean, normally the standard
thing
for
it's office on the background, just waiting for like 40 minutes.
Actually, if Shultzie, if you're there listening, can you just jump into the stream for a second so I can leave and come back, and hopefully it won't disconnect everyone. You don't have to go up live. Just get in the waiting room so I can leave.
I think what the relayers should do is they should petition Notional, because Notional did this without any consultation with the relayers and the impact and the intended costs. They should petition Notional to fund your relaying services for the period of time until you get your proposal up to fund you $1 million a year to relay for the hub as a collective.
The other side of it is, of course, Notional is being paid by the hub.
They should be relaying. Where's their relayers?
They're busy doing other things, working on other projects. Some chains need linting.
You
can say things now, Wow. Okay.
You're very
I mean, the punches I can stop pulling now that I'm not actually connected to anything and can just say what I think. So basically, I think this whole thing is really shit. I think that it is shocking the way the whole security risk to the hub has been handled. I think Notional have been typically awful in their approach to handling it too, and their kind of overly aggressive approach to fixing stuff has obviously broken something to a much worse degree, and the collateral damage is just terrible. The idea that consumer chains and ICS just break under it is just shocking. The fact that nobody thought this through from any team. So I include here Informal. Everyone who voted yes on this proposal, which I guess includes the relayers that are now crying about this, everyone's done a bad job, and everyone should be upset and ashamed of themselves because it is a complete fuck up.
I will push back here just a little bit. There needed to be something that caused everyone.
He's been having this all week with his headset.
It's being censored. I love it.
Funny.
I love it. He comes in, he's got like his really punchy point to make. He's like, I agree, but, and then
no, I mean, so I'm going to guess that he's going to say that it needed a moment like this to make everyone realize how fucked up the whole situation was with relayers and their costs, and this is ultimately going to be a good thing because it's going to mean we fix a problem that we've been kind of getting away with for a while. And I do agree with that, but I also think that unless we fundamentally fix the way that these kind of approaches are done and the kind of approach to decentralized sort of upgrades on the hub and kind of making it work properly, it's shockingly amateur, and that needs to it can't happen like that.
I absolutely agree with that it's totally amateur for sure. But yeah, collective bargaining needed to happen, and the only way we can make it happen is by kind of forcing everyone's hand, right?
Yeah, and
I think that we just quickly, like I totally understand, like I understand relaying, like I've known like how, who pays for it and how it works for a while now. I think let's get to the root of this is fundamentally the people that build and manage IBC have dropped the ball on this for 2-3 years now. Like, let's introduce packet forward middleware and these other IBC features that the devs want to build, rather than focusing on the thing that should be built, which is self-relaying, right? Like, why are relayers and like validators who are relaying and controlling the channels responsible for paying this shit that is a service that users use, right? Every single chain pays some relayer thousands of dollars every single month to manage like a relaying channel. Like Osmosis does it, Cosmos Hub does it. I'm sure Kujira through the Senate and all that stuff. Someone's paying for these relayers to be open and for the transactions to occur. Users aren't paying it. No chance. Like, they're paying it out of their token value, no doubt. Like, why isn't the number one priority taking this service away from centralized hands in validators and putting it in wallets and UIs that users can relay their own packets and pay their own transaction fees? Like, that should be the number one thing to make IBC actually decentralized and a service that is actually a public good, rather than a service that's managed by individuals at their own cost and expense, and like something that's critical to the entire existence of IBC, reliant upon individuals paying for it, like out of their pocket. It's dumb. Like, and it just shows like how Cosmos as a development organization and entity, and not just the hub, like the whole thing, is just like so backwards in their approach to, let's bring in all these features instead of fixing the fundamental core thing that is, if I want to relay a packet, I should be able to do that in my wallet. And like, apparently we're supposed to have this functionality like years ago, but it's just fundamentally broken. Like the thing that they built, you can't upgrade IBC channels. Like, it doesn't work from what I hear. But let's move forward and build this other shit instead of fixing something that, is core to the infrastructure that we use every single day.
I think that's a pretty hard take, and I don't know if I necessarily agree. I agree that a lot of that function needed to be there. I don't agree that the team is distracted with other things. I think there's so much push for relayers wanting to be able to use it as a profitable business venture that it would just be a low priority to use it as a wallet. That's what I've heard many times from several different teams, is that that's their goal, right? And so like, I see what you're saying, and that it should be a wallet should relay for itself. But if there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, right? Like, IBC as a protocol should not be pressured by teams who want to make money. Like, that is so fucking dumb. Like, I'm a relaying service provider. I get paid tens of thousands of dollars a month for providing relaying services for a handful of chains. I'm pressuring the IBC team to not implement features because I want to line my pockets. Like, what the fuck are we doing? If that's
Just
the
to be
case?
clear,
I don't think-
nobody gets paid that amount. If they do,
Yeah, they do.
they must have.
I know teams that get paid tens of thousands of dollars a month to relay.
Then they have a very nice agreement, but I wouldn't say that's standard. Like, maybe for us,
no, outliers for sure, right?
But I think if
it's a service, right? And I get it, but it's a service that's not needed if the tech was built how it should be built.
it sort of doesn't matter whether someone's doing this and being paid a lot of money and making a profit, or whether someone's doing this and making a big loss on it, and that's enhancing their validator reputation, and therefore they get delegations and whatever. And the fundamental thing is that this is core to making our tech stack work, and there is no obvious sustainable route for it to be there, other than altruism from someone. Someone is paying who isn't the person using that service. And we haven't figured out a way to make that work. And then we have, I've forgotten the exact prop number, but obviously the hub passed a prop ages ago. So it'll be in, sub 100 prop on being a routing hub, right? And I know, Rarma, that's an idea close to your heart as well, and you've tried to get some energy behind it. But like, actually, that kind of thing is where once you have 1,000 IBC chains with, you're not going to, like the thing that Ertemann was talking about, Ertemann was talking about connecting unusual chains to each other, right? Because someone wants to move some lum to Desmos or something, like take two ghost chains and move some tokens between them, right? Like, there is no reason for that, for a relay to exist there. We can route that, and just that can be okay. And there's lots of this kind of stuff, and it would make the thing more efficient, but fundamentally there needs to be a business model underneath it that makes it sustainable, so that it's built in, or you're paying it out, it's paid out of taxation, or it's paid from your TX fee, or whatever it is, but it needs to be sustainable. And then it becomes a market where relayers compete, and the person who can optimize the best and do it for the cheapest is going to make the most money, or whatever it is, right? Like, that's how IBC can scale. But what we have at the moment is some sort of weird mix of like subsidy from foundations, subsidy from validators' own pockets, and kind of marketing costs, or genuine altruism because they believe in IBC, because that's what a lot of people did in the early days, right? Like, it's not a good place to be in.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what solutions, just to kind of.
Oh no, I've got no idea of the solution. I'm just saying it's bad.
The particular news article. The minimum fee is now like across the board. So to do a transaction on the hub, you've got to pay a minimum of 0.05 Atom, regardless of the transaction type, which is great because it addresses, to an extent, your pockets now have to be, 10 times bigger to attack the hub, which is good. But in terms of the relays, outside of like large delegations from ICF or, direct funding from the community pool for the relayers, there's no real solution for this. And, then you get into like collective bargaining, if someone's providing the relaying service, but not part of that group, how do they get paid? Who gets paid how much? Is there now competition because, someone's relaying more transactions than the other, so they should get paid more, etc. Right? You just kind of get into that kettle of fish, and it's all great until someone else is making potentially more money than the other person, and then, whatevs. But again, kind of comes back to relayers shouldn't be so reliant for the service to work. Like, if relayers actually went on strike, which I think would be quite hilarious, watch how quickly people jump up and down to like get that service fixed.
Well,
right?
when Confio threatened to go on strike, I don't think they ever actually went on strike. They got paid pretty quick, and they got paid by the hub that isn't even a direct beneficiary of Cosmos directly. Relaying, the hub massively benefits from IBC, as does every chain. Like, the whole reason that we're all in Cosmos, I imagine, is IBC. And I know that this show's talked about IBC is the only thing in Cosmos that you can pretty much bet on, except that you can't because there's no way to monetize it.
So it's interesting thought that I just had, and always looking on the positive side of things like I do. Relayers go on strike, all of them. ICS packets aren't relayed. You would get slashing events on consumer chains because the only way that they do IBC, like how you do uptime for the consumer chains in the hub, is via IBC. And if you don't receive those packets in time, it would determine that you haven't met uptime thresholds and you get slashed.
We'd still need a governance proposal to pass to slash them.
Yeah, that's fine. No, we would.
So it's not the same, like, because we haven't
bargaining.
Because we haven't got to the point where that becomes automated yet, but we will get there. So so for the collective bargaining people, there is a limited window where you can do this without getting slashed yourself.
Wait. I didn't realize that it requires IBC in order to run providers. All that's communicated through IBC.
That's the entire way that ICS works. Is your client update IBC transactions determines your uptime on the consumer and provider chain. So if that packet's not relayed, then I don't know fundamentally, like if there was a delay in IBC, would it just relay the transactions and then determine that you had uptime? But that's how it works. Is every block it sends, like every block there's a transaction in there for provider consumer update, and it has like the corresponding block height to say that you've got uptime on the consumer chain.
Rarma, I think you might be saying the quiet part out loud about the real costs of ICS. It isn't about running one additional shitty node under your desk so that you can have Neutron there. It is the relayers yet again who are getting screwed, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That kind of really twists the knife in a bit.
Yeah, so and they were free before, so you could IBC transfer those consumer provider updates with zero gas because they were as part of the exceptions. The fundamental issue is that everything except for like maybe one or two transactions was set in the bypass. So when they configured it, it was just like everything but this is bypassed. Now that list has been cleared, everything has a cost rather than IBC client updates or whatever they are, provider consumer client updates being free. And the reason for that is like even those are an attack vector. So if a particular validator wanted to go rogue, they could spam client updates and take down the network. So had to introduce a fee there, but is the fee too high for people who are supposedly trusted and have their reputation and atoms on the line?
I think the other thing that's interesting here is whether you do actually need to get to the point where you just have permissioned IBC channels, so that you actually have a permissioned IBC channel to do that particular thing. And you're saying, look, this is how it works. And there is as what you're kind of saying, Rarma, is obviously between slashing and social consensus, there is a sort of solution to the attack vector. Because one of the things that I think people like to think of security in absolute terms, things are secure or they're not secure. And actually, it's very much a spectrum. Attacks just get more expensive, or they just require you to be more powerful. And I think a lot of proof of stake is based around kind of economic game theory, and it kind of just ignores the social consensus side of it, which is ultimately probably more powerful and then overlaps into legal in the real world, right? And I think that, actually thinking these things through pragmatically will let us get to better solutions. They don't have to be perfect solutions. And I think often one of the failings that we have is either things are not thought through at all, and then they happen, or things are thought through quite a lot, and then people pick holes in them, and then they don't happen. And I would rather have the second, where you have something with a few holes in it that's been scrutinized somewhat, and the risks are known, and people can make an informed decision, as opposed to what we have at the moment, which is you throw something up, it sounds common sense, everyone just votes for it.
All right. I think we covered that one off pretty well. Sounds like IBC, the lifeblood, the core of Cosmos, is not without its challenges too.
Shultzie, how's the chicken stuffing going? The rooster, the kettle. What do they call those fucking ducks?
Turkeys?
Turkey, yeah. Yeah, how's the turkey stuffing going? Did you shove a beer can up there?
So I'm not doing that part of the party prep. I'm making other things. Like I'm a big fan of cookies, so I make a huge batch of cookies for everyone.
Oh, and you do make good cookies too.
Did you have some of my cookies? You did.
man.
Yeah. So I'm making a lot of those cookies. And it's not happening at my house, so like I have to prep for the travel bits and yeah.
Well, we wouldn't want to make hash cookies inside your own home, so we'd make it someone else's house.
Yes, exactly.
When I visited Shultzie, I was just pandered with coffee and cookies the whole time and jerky. He lives just around the corner from a jerky factory, which is delightful.
A turkey's not a thing in Australia. Why did you?
Sorry, I think I just did some kind of doxing. Oops.
A turkey's not a thing in Australia, because I was just wondering why you didn't know the name of the bird.
Look, they're not very common. Like you certainly won't see one on the street. But
really?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't see one in the street in the UK, but I still know what they're called.
Like you'll infrequently see one at like a large like wood or forestry type park. Like there's one near me where there's like a bunch of birds around, and you can go and sit, and you'll occasionally see a little turkey walking around with its little nutsack on its chin. But like if you go into the bush, you're not just going to see a bunch of turkeys like cruising around. We don't go out there and don't have a turkey hanging over your shoulder walking home, ready to stuff it and to eat it.
Well, there are bush turkeys though.
Those are weird looking. They have a yellow scrotum around their neck. That
your shit just went off again.
All right. Do we move on? Like speaking of yellow scrotums, do we move on to CZ?
Okay. Do you want to announce the news?
Yeah. So our big boy 4 steps down as the CEO after pleading guilty.
Hang on. Why do you have 4 in there? I don't get that. Is that some sort of joke?
Have you not seen all of the images of CZ?
Oh, right. Because he does
tweets where he's like 4.
Yeah.
Is
that supposed to mean 4?
Now. Well, I tweeted yesterday because I thought it was kind of funny. Like he's always been talking about 4, right? We've now had the 4. We had Do Kwon, Sam Bankman-Fried, Suzu, and now CZ. 4. All of them going to jail. Going to hang out with each other. All sued, all going to jail, all took down their great products. The 4's done. That's it. The bull market begins.
I wonder where that prison is. Is that in the Caymans?
They're all in different. Well, Do Kwon's in Montenegro or something where he tried to like use a fake passport.
So some of them are in prison at the moment, are they?
Do is. Yep. Do definitely is. Suzu is also in prison. I think in Singapore from memory. Sam's probably at like house arrest inside a mansion somewhere.
One of them got out, right? And then CZ's not going to prison. CZ is rich.
CZ will go to prison, just not for a while.
Yeah,
he just went bail or something, I think.
He paid a big fine and stepped down as CEO as like a bargaining agreement with the government.
Yeah, but then wouldn't he? It wasn't that so he didn't go to prison.
Well, yeah, that's the agreement now until they find more charges that they can send him to prison for.
Well, it depends. It depends on how much you think BlackRock are just clearing out the market so they can have their Bitcoin.
I reckon if that bird that was in with bloody old mate, Shultzie, Caroline, yeah, if she got off, I reckon CZ can manage it.
Maybe. Like they didn't seem very happy with him.
Depends if he can implicate anyone, right? She got off because of the intel she's got. So if CZ decides to throw Brian from Coinbase under the bus, I'm sure he'll get off.
I think they're like different scenarios, though, right? Like Do Kwon and your man, fucking what's his name? The funny looking one. They like had
Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, Bankman-Fried. They all had things that just felt like they were running Ponzi's basically that collapsed. Like Binance weren't really doing that. So
The key here is that if so long as your Ponzi doesn't collapse, you're fine. If your Ponzi collapses, Bernie Madoff, etc., then you're screwed.
yeah, as long as USDT doesn't tank, it's all good.
I mean, that's the thing. If Justin Tron goes to prison, then that's five, and Rarma's whole joke is ruined.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, like back to the bear market we go. So we definitely.
So we've got the window between 4 and 5. That's it. It's just that.
Protect our boy Justin. All right, all of our bags.
When did we exit the bear market, Rarma?
Or like 2-3 months ago.
No, we're still flatlining.
Up only.
We're not.
I think as soon as you started paying Rarma, he exited the bear market
because of our riveting news.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was the turning point.
You might be right. You heard it here first, folks. We front run the bull market.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, certainly I'm getting bull market vibes with the amount of airdrops that have been thrown around in the last week. Notably, Pith. Some ball sack that I found in my wallet randomly. What else was there? There was another TIA. Yeah, so TIA was a big one as well.
Yeah.
And I, back on relayers, some of those relayers did pretty darn well out of that TIA airdrop. Reading some of the comments on Twitter and getting out my calculator, like to the tune of $200,000 to $300,000. So I think like the TIA airdrop has been pretty good for those guys, assuming
I think also if you had a lot of commits in the right GitHubs, regardless of the quality of those commits, you may have done quite well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going around doing I'm doing linting, I'm doing spell checks on every single GitHub.
Everywhere.
But if you're
I don't even know if it's right, I'm just doing it.
But Rarma, if you're doing that, what's Notional doing?
Front run than Rarma. Just run around the GitHubs and then find the Go file and then just start adding 0.0.1 to everything that you see, and then just try to build it.
Start
if it builds,
comments. If there's a line of code without a comment on it,
fucking send it. Yeah, start adding
copy
comments.
It, Chat GPT, add comments for what this does, merge it on everything. Like, you need comments on your code, boys. You can't, just really
this is the real alpha for airdrop farming, right? Is that as airdrops become
devs always get paid.
You can't just stake Atom anymore. You have to get in the GitHub and really, really knuckle down.
Rarma, I'm of the firm belief that commenting code is pandering to chumps who can't code.
I think the Frey would disagree with you, right? He's talked a lot about his love of commenting, and it's almost like his notes to himself, right?
Well, he charges by the hour too, so.
Well, I wondered, it's either that he's on an hourly rate or he's a chump who can't code. It's one or the other, right?
Well, I mean, presumably you can understand your own code, or is he like hammering the chumps to put in code comments so that he can understand their shit?
No, I think he's commenting on his own stuff so that he can understand it later. But what I would say is Howl is still not working, so probably a chump.
I mean, just commenting code that doesn't work with this doesn't work yet is like one way of going about it, I suppose. Please help.
Yeah, so Pith, on Pith, like kind of crazy, huh? Like it's just a useless Oracle token. Launched at like 5 billion fully diluted value, like not listed on any reasonably sized exchange. And then
it
gets
is
listed on Binance and goes up like 50%.
No, 50%. So it did get listed on Binance, did it?
Yeah, they've got Binance perps on it now.
Because I noticed it had gone up today in my little wallet here. So yeah, I mean, Did we even know this was coming? It would have been nice to have known, so I could have farmed it. But luckily, I used that Lavana on a couple of different wallets for various different reasons, and got a couple of little airdrops from Pith, which was nice. Yeah, and Rarma, I know you've been doing a bit of playing with the Lavana as well, right?
Yeah, I got 3 or 4 wallets just from
Nice.
just from trading on Lavana. Like I use like my public Commonwealth wallet that I always like test and play around with. I always like do that first, because if there's ever anything like dumb or whatever, it just like takes the couple of $100 at most that I have on that wallet. So I test everything with that.
Yeah.
That got like a couple of thousand Pith just from, you know, minor trading and testing on Mars. And then I was trading on Lavana with my ledger, which I found to be a real pain in the ass, because there's like 26 clicks to approve a transaction. So then I moved that funds into a hot wallet to trade with, because the ledger was too annoying. So I ended up getting it on that wallet too. And then I think I just had, it was like, I was mucking around with like a bot or something to like open and close positions on Lavana. So I moved like a small amount of funds to another wallet just to test if I could do it via CLI and execute the smart contract. And I got a couple of thousand just for testing it there. But like the other wallets that I actually traded with, it was like 4.1k Pith or something like that. I was like,
yeah, I got it on Neutron as well from doing some Mars stuff on Neutron because it was there was a period of time where it was profitable to. Oh, how did it work? You deposited ST Atom on Osmosis, you borrowed some USDC, and then you could lend that on Neutron, and for some reason that just printed money for you because the ratios were just way out. And so I did that for a bit, but then I made a lot more from the Pith airdrop than that little bit of farming did for me. So, but I made a mistake of telling my wife just how much the airdrop was worth. So all of that's come straight out of crypto and into fiat. But I basically fell off the sofa when I was like, because I was just like I went, you know, fire up a VPN and claimed it, and then was like, that is 30. It was like 31 cents a token or whatever, and I kind of just said it out loud, and then was like, oh shit, now all of this has to come out as fiat, but it's gone on Black Friday stuff, and I'm going to be very comfortable.
So you're serious when you replied to my tweet that you just went to Black Friday lingerie?
I mean, some of it will go. Some of it will be Christmas presents for kids.
Black Friday lingerie.
I got mine. Right, it was my first experience and exposure to Solana. It was actually a really good experience. Like, I never had a wallet or anything. Like, creating a web wallet was really easy, straightforward. I just got a friend to send me like a tiny bit of gas to, you know, claim it and send it. But the transaction speeds, he was like, sent. I checked my wallet, it was there. There was like almost no delay. It was basically instant. And then I claimed it. It was already in my wallet. And then I sent it to MEXC. And even that was quick. It was like maybe a minute or two to get to MEXC.
It was really,
to like
really
confirm,
quick sending it to Coinbase.
Yeah,
really quick.
Yeah, it was you know, maybe a minute or two to confirm 100, you know, however they do it, 100 confirmations, and then it was just there, and then I just instant dumped it and bought Zephyr.
Well, I bought fiat, but I think the thing for me with it was, so I had to. It took a bit long because I had to go and get some Solana for gas and do that. But I had a good experience with that.
How did you get your gas?
I bought it on I had a bit of money on a Sex and just swapped it and sent it to the wallet address.
How much was the fee to like send your Solana to your
pennies? But the minimum amount I could send was like $5. So
yeah.
So I spent $5 and then was just like, nope, it's fine. I know I'm getting it back. It's not a problem.
I think the MEXC withdrawal fees are quite high, Rarma.
Not if you withdraw fiat, yeah, but I just withdraw like Atom or whatever and then move it.
I borrowed some gas from Uncle Dad.
I was in bed, right? I was winding down, ready to go to sleep at like 1:30 a.m. or something. And I just got a DM from a friend. They're like, did you claim your Pith airdrop? It's trading at like 34 cents. I was like, whoop, out of bed. I claimed it.
The only reason I got it, because I wasn't going to be bothered. I was like, because you need they can't distribute to the UK. So fortunately I was in Rome very briefly at the time that I claimed it. But that happened because my dad sent me a message asking about a VPN for when they're going away in a few weeks, and he wants to watch some television while he's away, watch a bit of football, and he wanted a VPN. And I asked a friend just for a recommendation for him. And while I was doing that, I was like, oh, by the way, can I just borrow your login for something briefly? And if it hadn't been for my dad WhatsApping me, I probably wouldn't have been bothered. And then I wouldn't have had a couple of $1,000 for nothing. I did contemplate holding some Solana, but as I say, I told my wife what the amount was. So there we go. I need to start using multiple wallets, though. That's the reality, rather than just one.
Yeah, you got to spread it around, man.
It's just so much admin.
You got to write down 24 words so many times.
Can I really be bothered?
I just used hot wallets. I figured out the trick to make them without having to remember the seed phrase. Mm-hmm. You just create a new wallet, and then so you create a new wallet. You copy all of the, like, you know how it makes you like pick out words and then put it in. So you just create a new wallet, copy all those words that come up, and then get out of that and restore a wallet and just paste them in there. Then you don't have to do like that picking out the word thing. So I've got all these wallets. I don't know the seed phrase too.
I think it's an interesting approach to OPSEC, right? Where as long as you don't have a lot of money in any of them, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just like burners that you're like, you need to do something. And you're like, that seems a bit sketchy. I might not use that with my wallet. So you have a little burner wallet, you do the thing, then you like delete it. And then
I just have, I've got a Python script and I just change like whatever chain I want. And then I just go generate me 10 wallets and then it spits it out to a text file with the memos. Sorry, the mnemonics, and then I just copy paste it into Kepler.
So you are a developer of some description, right, Rarma?
I develop, just not blockchain. Yeah.
Do you? So what languages do you know? Obviously Python,
JavaScript, C, hash, HTML, enough.
Oh yeah. So like web dev type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I can get myself into and out of trouble for the most part.
I can get myself into trouble. I can't get myself out. Like I know enough just to be dangerous enough to break all my stuff.
I've done development for various types of development for 15 odd years. Just haven't got into like Rust and Go. So JavaScript I can get cause some pain. I understand languages, I just don't. I haven't spent the time to fundamentally learn them. So whenever I review the code, I can kind of see what it does and how it's structured. But yeah, just have no care to actually get in and do a hardcore dev. Rather focus on like process and advice.
Go
anyway.
Go is just and Rust, like those ones that just have tons of files for like and pointing to themselves all over the place. They're a little bit painful for me to go through and try to glean what they do. But anyway, so what's the Sam Altman news, Rarma?
Yeah, so I saw how much Frey had about Sam last week. I don't know if they got touched on, but Mr. Altman, the CEO, ex-CEO, and CEO of OpenAI, he was unanimously fired by the board over the weekend. Unceremoniously shafted from his own organization, from the board, because of whatever reasons. And then there was like massive outrage and their share prices tanked by the looks of things. And employees were like exiting left, right, and center because he was like the visionary, right? And then within like hours of sacking him and publicly announcing it, like all of the board were like apologizing, oh, we love the company. We didn't mean to cause this much harm. And then a day or two later, like Microsoft announces Sam as like the head of the new AI department of Microsoft, basically giving him like unlimited budget and like hiring a bunch of the people that were leaving OpenAI. And
wow.
and then
How much
yesterday,
of OpenAI?
sorry,
How much of OpenAI did Microsoft own? Because they're a big investor in it, right?
they're like 50% or something. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they're very
so-
very large holder. Yeah. And then so they announced that Microsoft has like put him in. And the funny thing is, like in the Microsoft position, he would basically be like the liaison between the Microsoft AI team and OpenAI. So, like he would be in charge of OpenAI and the interactions between Microsoft anyway. And then yesterday, the board, a bunch of the board stepped down. There was a new board appointed of like 3 people, and they rehired Sam as the CEO. So like everyone's like coming back, and Microsoft are happy with it. And
do we know how much
it's
the
like
Do we know how much the Twitch guy got paid for his 24 hours as chief exec?
Yeah, they
Like,
did they even
he
sign
must-
the
he
paper?
must
Has
have
the
made
ink dried?
Bang
Like
on a day's work, like, because
if there was a contract there for money, right, and it was actually signed with no like termination or cool down period, he's just made millions of dollars just for rocking up. Like the shortest CEO in almost history. Not even 24 hours.
Probably didn't even get into the office. Probably just signed and then got asked immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is so funny. But what's also funny is there's a Telegram chat I'm in, and there's a few notable Cosmos personalities in there. And what was funny is they were comparing it to the ousting of Jake One, and how that was, and kind of assigning each other roles as to who they were in this, which of the players in this they were. And
cringe.
It's very funny because I mean, but like I get it, because they all, like, it's a big part of their lives, and they obviously a lot of trauma in something like that, I guess, would be the polite way of putting it. So it colors a lot of what they see everywhere. But I think like it just goes to show, like, because the question I've got is, what was he sacked for? Because basically they said he didn't really tell us the truth, and so we sacked him. And then he's been reinstated, and you just think, what are these skeletons that are there that caused them to sack him in the first place? Because at some point they'll come out.
Yeah, he's probably done something that was not very woke or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
we don't actually know. There was like allegations around like, his sister and all these weird things. Yeah, like legit. Yeah, there's people saying like she's posted like tweets and stuff like asserting that, her brothers or other people have like done bad things. And obviously, Walt Coach, everyone just jumped to the conclusion that of course she's right and it's true. Guilty before proven innocent, etc. But then like the board obviously can't come out and say that. So they're like, we've lost confidence in his, approach and vision. The board was very much of the opinion that they should like take a step back and like slow down on AI rather than like pushing forward and being as adventurous as they currently are. Who knows what the truth is, but like I always refer back to Lord Elon's tweet of like the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. And that was literally the most entertaining outcome. Like, so
I did enjoy the whole thing about he will go to any lengths to avoid using Microsoft Teams.
Man, I hate Microsoft Teams as well. It sucks.
I use it daily.
Do you like it though?
No.
So
it's a daily part of my life as well, and it's used a lot more at my current employer than it was used at my previous employer. The previous one just used it for calls, and this one's like calls plus like messaging nonstop.
Ours is like a document repository too, like integrates with like file hosting solutions where you like integrate with customers and like have like collaborative chats and teams and
that
stuff.
sounds like such pain. The like it should be just a chat only thing. Like, I don't see why it needs to have like files and stuff integrated. Not even chat, just have a video thing. Like, I like Meet is the best one out of all of them. It does its job and it does its job well. You can just jump in, jump out, no problems. It's not a friggin' app, and you can just share your screen on different tabs that you have open, all that stuff. It just works. And like the Microsoft one, I just have problems with no end, especially if I don't want to install the app in trying to like actually share documents and tabs and stuff that I'm working on. Or like what I do a lot in meetings is have meeting minutes on the screen, and do the meeting minutes as we have the meetings. It saves the whole rigmarole afterwards where you do the back and forth. Can't do that a lot of the time with Microsoft Teams, because on Mac it just doesn't really work that very well. So yeah, although like Word and Excel are getting better and better on Mac. I used to have to run 2 laptops to have one running bloody Windows just to use Office, and another one with Mac because it works better for everything else other than Office, or CAD if you need to use that. But like, yeah, that was a huge pain. So then I just pulled the trigger and just went full-time Mac. And I'd say that's my last thing that just doesn't work very well is Meet. But I also noticed that the Outlook version of the Mac version of Outlook, when you drag and drop messages out of there, it saves it with a different extension. So if you if you drag an email out, right, to a file and then drop it into an email and send it to someone on Windows, they can't open the bloody thing because it's a different extension. It's a different format. Like, why not use the same format? Makes no fucking
I think
sense.
this is as interesting as when there was the episode about spinning up a validator. I think we should move on.
All right, sorry, no one cares about my Office problems. Oh, you didn't like
don't use a Mac. Yeah.
You didn't like the episode of the?
I mean, I watched the whole thing because I'm the most dedicated viewer, but like, you know,
it was a struggle. Yeah, like watching a validator struggle to set up a validator was pretty funny.
Doing it that way is definitely the slow way of doing it. Like ordinarily, you just press go on Ansible and then come back in 5 minutes and it's done.
That would have been a better episode.
Thank you for your feedback.
The issue that I have
18 months later.
I think I gave the feedback pretty directly at the time as well, to be fair. But you know, you guys haven't done it since, so I take it that the feedback has been taken on board. Well,
we were going to do a refresher and do a consumer chain.
Well, it would be interesting because Shultzie doesn't know how they work.
Neither do I. It's I tell you what, it's been nice avoiding all of the Atom drama, never having spun up a Atom validator, not having to care about any of that at all. Has been just probably the highlight of my career in DevOps.
848 was a contributing factor to me just thinking, oh, fuck it, and leaving.
I'm you know, the last news topic we can avoid if we like. The only thing I will raise is like the last week and a half of not being involved in Cosmos and governance drama and focusing on changing a parameter from 0.01 to 0.02 or the inverse is exactly what summarizes why Cosmos tokens severely lag behind anything else in the crypto sphere in terms of price appreciation. And it's because people legitimately do not give a fuck about governance and the parameters on the chain and funding people out of the community pool. What they want to do is they want to get away from their fucking 9-to-5 fiat job, come into crypto and have some fun and invest in tokens that are going to go up and not have to deal with all the drama. It's taken me a while to realize, but that's like fundamentally what it is. Like Cosmos has good tech. Don't talk about the tech. Don't talk about the governance and the drama. Talk about how the tech is going to make people fucking rich and people will come and invest.
The ideal thing is that, like, if you could align it so that 25% of people in devs in Cosmos built fun casinos and roulette wheels, and then pumped that money into the 75% that are building functioning tech and IBC and doing all the interesting nerd stuff, but they weren't allowed to speak to anyone. That would be the ideal scenario. And to be honest, that's how Web 2 works.
Every employment contract needs a gag clause.
I'm almost aligning with Jay more and more every day. Like, more NDAs are needed for employees, like to the point where it's literally a gag order. If you are employed by any development team in Cosmos, you're not allowed to have a social media account, you're not allowed to have alt accounts. If you're caught, you don't get fired. You get locked into a dungeon where you only have access to GitHub and no other websites. Introduce the great firewall of China inside development organizations.
You get locked into a dungeon where you only have access to BFOT to try and survive.
Escape your way out of that financially, and you can open a Twitter account.
I genuinely, let's just crack open that GitHub, move it over from Juno to Neutron, and have some fun.
What?
It's closed source. I don't think they open sourced it.
Oh, did they not open source it? Damn it!
I could message him. I still have him on Discord. I can message him, get him to open source it.
Yeah, the castle thing. What?
Yeah,
why would it be? Yeah.
Just let's play with it.
Back.
Yeah, play with it again on Neutron, right? It's going to be different this time.
Well,
it's been on Chihuahua since, hasn't it? It was different.
Never started.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was like a subset. It was like a Fortis Lite. And then they introduced like the Ash thing that White Whale forked and introduced on their chain as like the furnace on a whale oriented chain, which makes a lot of sense. But I've spoken to him. I'm pretty certain that he's like moved on from Cosmos. He's like doing other languages and like helping out with other chains because he it was an experiment. It was fun. Maybe he got the data that he wanted from it. Don't know.
But I think that obviously now you look back at it and just go, well, that was all very silly. But like at the time, it was a lot of fun, and I think it kind of speaks to what you were talking about, Rarma. If people want to kind of enjoy their experience and make a bit of money, or try to make a bit of money,
or at least enjoy losing money.
I'm always. I mean, but I'm really shocked that anyone is able to lose money in blockchain. Like, it seems really easy if you're not greedy, just to kind of profit. But I don't know if that's just me being like vanilla, as a friend of mine referred to me the other day.
You're definitely vanilla, yeah.
Somehow
So you either want to get like fuck you money rich, or you just want to be here for like 10 years. And I don't think that the being here for 10 years is great for your mental health. And the only way to make fuck you money is to gamble, right? And to gamble, like, you've got to do dumb shit, like put a bunch of money into like a shit coin that you have no idea about, like Fortis, or like, fucking Zephyr, or, Harry Potter, Osama, Obama, handcuff, Inu. Like, that's how you get fuck off rich, right? And it's literally gambling. Like, everyone knows it, but like, that's the way to do it. And you've only got so much time to do it. The longer you're here, the less chances of you actually making it are, and the more your mental health's going to be impacted.
I think that's an interesting take, because I feel like personally I'm probably up 5-6x, something like that.
It depends how much you invested. And,
I know
now and all that stuff. Right?
I never put in a lot in, and I'm not counting the salary that I took out. I'm but like all the amounts left in chain. But just in terms of I mean, airdrops and not being dumb, and selling Juno for Atom and things like that were just sensible moves, and like, and not being greedy, and like, I think so. Like the AA DAO stuff, I count very differently, because that was like me trying to do something positive and trying to help. Maybe it did or didn't. I'm not entirely sure. Probably did, but I think that like the money side of it, for me, it's like, I suppose it's like, if I can be sensible enough, then my mental health won't suffer. It suffered more with doing AA DAO and trying to actually like work and make things happen and deal with people being you know, they weren't too bad with me, to be honest, but there's an element of aggression and unpleasantness, and you get criticized unfairly. But, you know, I knew I was getting into that. So, but I think that, like, you know, to stay in that ring for a long time and work there is really hard. And then I think that if you're gambling a lot, then that's not going to be great for your mental health. So for me, it's like, if I can do 3 or 4x every year, then I'll still be, you know, I'll still do really well. But
if you can do 3 or 4x each year, can you manage my portfolio?
Yeah, sure. But I just think it's like a lot of it has been paying attention and not being as greedy as other people. Like and just, you know, and kind of going, oh, I've made some profit, and maybe I will take that profit and let a little bit of it run. And, you know.
So, like, as an example, I'm currently up like 1,200% on a particular token, and I haven't taken any profits yet.
Whereas I would already have
just like random Arbitrum shit coins and stuff, like easily like over 10x, and I haven't touched it.
And that's the thing, like that's why you will become a millionaire before I will,
or zero, like right, like zero, unrealized profits, unrealized profits. It's like, that's
how
much you're willing to gamble.
Whereas when I get a 2x, I just go, oh right, I'll take the initial capital out. Cool. Now,
and it's all like the way I do it is like look at market cap, right? Like what's the narrative? What's the, you know, what is the token? Does it have utility? Does it have community? What's the market cap in comparison to something similar to it, right? And if those things make sense, like as an example, like I own some Neutron. I'm holding Neutron long term because I like the product and I think that they're doing good things. But like I'm not going to take out profits from Neutron at like a 2x as an example, right? Because I think that its market cap can go like substantially higher in a real bull market up into the billions. Why would I take profit on it when it's like 220 million or something, right? Whereas like some Arbitrum shitcoin that I buy at like 2 or 5 million, I'm not going to hold that to like 200 million, right? Like I'm going to take some profits on it at like, 2, 3, 5x when it becomes like apparently obvious that its market cap's too high.
This is sort of what a really smart guy was talking to me about at Cosmoverse, where he was just like, why are you so, like, this was around Atom, but he was like, you don't believe Atom is worth this price, do you? I was like, no, I think it's worth more. And he was like, so why are you selling any? And I was like, because I kind of want to, treat the family and do some stuff. And he was just like, well, you're an idiot. And I was like, okay, fair point. Like,
yeah, let's hold Atom while like ICS and AIB and every other person sells it constantly.
I mean, you could swap it for something else, right? You totally could, but like he was just talking if the choice was between that and fiat. So
yeah, so I haven't taken, like, I take very little money out of crypto into like actual fiat. The reason is that I don't want to have to pay the tax man, and so I'll just like rotate it and just like record my transactions, and then like I'll get like pre-rich or like unrealized profits rich, with the goal of like compounding up to where my portfolio is a good amount, where if I do a 10%, like it's a substantial amount of money. That's the goal, right? Rather than like, oh, let's take a few thousand here because, I did a 5x or whatever, or 2x. I'm of the opinion that like now when like we're actually moving towards a bull market, like there's substantial money to be made if you are smart about it. And I don't need to take fiat money, right? Like, wife and I have got pretty good jobs. I certainly could, and it would make life easier, but I think there's substantial upside in the next kind of 6 to 9 months. So rather do that instead.
I think what's fascinating for me is how that it kind of just verges on psychology, right? Some of it's to do with your own personal circumstances and whatever. And then there's just this amount which is to do with what is it you're looking to do and how much are you looking to make. And like, for me, it's like, I know that by being less greedy than Rarma, I will outperform him consistently, but he might beat me overall. Like, that's the thing, because I will slowly chip away and I will take profits more consistently than him. But actually, he might hit the jackpot and suddenly walk away a millionaire, and I'll be there going, oh, well, I made a few thousand.
Yeah, like, yeah, I guess.
People get seduced by that millionaire thing, right? Where you like, oh, if I bought this... I could have bought Bitcoin in 2000 and whatever, and if I'd have just held it till now, and it's like, yeah, but no one's got that kind of ability to hold it like that.
Most of the people who like forgot about it got rich. Yeah,
and it depends what it is, right? Like, you're not going to like leave it in some fucking random meme coin. That's a 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 chance that particular thing like goes parabolic, right? my big thing is like I do crypto for fun, and it's a hobby, and part of that fun and hobby is like gambling on whether or not like I actually have money that I can eventually take that's worth substantially more than what I put in. In terms of like actual dollars, time wise, I'm in debt. I'm dirt poor for crypto, but like, you know, money wise, like I'm substantially in profit in terms of my portfolio, which is great, all unrealized, and it's all part of the gamble and the fun and the hobby side of things, right? Like, which is my goals. Like I can still go on holidays and do things with the family because, you know, we're reasonably well fed, like off because of our fiat mine jobs. So while I can continue to do that, I will. And if I need to, I can just instantly cash out and take the profits where I need to.
So the moral of the story is don't be a validator.
Yeah, I think they probably spend substantially more time than I do, but also probably profited a lot more than I did.
Validators definitely work 24 hours a day. As an example, not last night, but the night before, I got woken up 8 times during the night. And probably 3 of those times was necessary to wake up. But you know, the fallout of that is yesterday was a terrible day for me because I was just tired and had a headache the entire day. But last night, nothing. So, but like, you know, overall, if you're a validator and have like people working for you and stuff like that, you spend all your time on it, and it's very hard to get away.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I don't like that's part of the reason why, you know, everyone was just like, run up, start a validator. Like, you know, we'll support you. And, you know, I was like, when I really thought about it, I was like, I have to manage this shit fucking ever. And if I decide to like spin it down or whatever, it's like substantial, like social impact and effort to like manage and maintain this shit. I was just like, no way. Like, am I getting involved in something that was like perpetually effort and time for like probably little value where I would be in like the validator set in income wise?
Well, we've said it here before, and like the expectation is once you spin something up, you keep it running. And like, because, you know, once people stake to it, people want to stake and forget. They don't want to be like checking back every day to see if you're still there. So it's not fair to like your delegators if you just all of a sudden pop smoke, which, you know, I have done on a couple of networks that were probably net bad for the users anyway. So we gave plenty of notice to leave, but you still cop heaps of problems when you do that. And then people actually leave you on other networks as well. So, Bendy?
Well, I was just going to say, I think there was some chat about having a button that you could press that when I'm spinning down, undelegate all my people so that or redelegate, you know, like there should be a piece of functionality that would like, it wouldn't be difficult to come up with something like.
It'd be nice if there was like,
particularly with
some
LSDs
sort of function that
existing.
if a validator could say, I'm going, but I trust this other validator, you could do a spin down transaction and transfer all of your stake to another one.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It's not the choice of the user, but if they trust you, then they should trust who you trust.
Or if it's like has to be weighted so that you can't like screw the network by it being too centralized or whatever, you know, there's going to be some technical, there's, you know, that you go, yeah, okay, you have to distribute it across 10 people or whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's kind of more that what shouldn't happen is you stop validating and the user just doesn't know, and then they're not getting the staking rewards they expect. Because most of the time, I don't think I'm sorry to say this, Noel, but I don't think the users really care who they're delegating to. I think they, you know, I delegate to. So principally, if there's a game of nodes validator on a chain, I will delegate to them because I enjoy this show, and that's kind of like my little like, oh, there you go, you can have the little bit of commission, but like that's it. Like you know, I have no idea which of you is a good validator or a bad validator, or
well, we're all good validators.
Well,
obviously. Let's make that clear right now.
Well, obviously, and probably Kingnodes is probably the best, but that's not, you know, because you're the only one that turns up for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the only one that consistently turns up.
Yeah.
Hasn't missed an episode. Oh wait,
I have. Well, I've definitely been away for episodes that I may have came to anyway. Like
I'm just glad that we didn't miss an episode and the show went on regardless. That's the main thing. That's my takeaway.
Someone indicated to me in the group chat that we may have already missed an episode at some point, but I don't recall when that might have been.
This is Cause Less Harm also believes we've missed one back in March. And I think that everyone was at a conference, I think is what it was.
We all were at a conference in March, yes. So
I think you had a week off for a conference. And nobody thought to give Rarma and I a bell then.
Or today.
You know, the Frey has my actual mobile number. He can definitely sub me in at any point.
Oh, now I feel like,
well,
out in the cold. I don't have your mobile phone.
If you really want to go there, no. All right.
Rarma has mine.
Yeah. Little Australian bromance.
I think the next thing we need to organise probably is
when he called me the other week.
Oh yeah, I actually called Rarma the other day. And he's like, who the fuck are you?
He's like, hello. He's like, call my name, and he's like, who's this? I could barely hear him. It's like, it's Blood. I was like, who? it's Null. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like using my name, and I'm using Null. I'm using my name. I'm using Null. I'm using my name. I'm using Null. He's like, who the fuck are you talking about? What are you calling me? I'm like, fuck, man. Just like think.
Look at your phone. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, sorted that out.
Can we sort out the Christmas party, please?
What Christmas party?
Like the gone Christmas party? Is it going to be an online Christmas party or?
I don't like, Frey and I live close enough together in the UK that we could get together for a beer. You're Australian, so you could drink in the morning. You guys could meet up. I think
we're gonna do a live.
Yeah,
live one with RHINO to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
live.
I guess so. We could do like
I can totally do it.
A Gone and Friends Have Gone like meetup,
live
I suppose.
Christmas party.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible, I would say. Entirely. I do feel like I'm going to cop shade from my missus for drinking whiskey at 6 a.m. But, whatever.
Does she watch the show?
She definitely does not watch the show. She is not a friend of the show. She's not my friend while I'm doing the show. She thinks I'm a dumb fucking nerd on the internet talking to other idiots. So
sounds like she might. Sounds like she might never know you were drinking whiskey at 6 a.m.
Yeah, like I don't think that's going to improve the situation.
But really, is she really gonna care when you become a multimillionaire? That's the key.
She does not care about my pre-rich. She thinks that internet tokens are dumb and not worth anything. So. And I mean, that's the sentiment that a lot of people have.
Just wait till it's Chihuahua season, right? And those tokens might come back to life.
Man, I have got a lot of those that I should not have kept. Yeah, my degenning was hard back in the bull market, and watch this. I need to let the dogs out for sure.
I mean, you need to employ some paid shills, and that token will run because it has, it's got great utility and it's a dog.
I mean, the best paid shill that I've been seeing lately is Rarma, and it is a dog. It's been going hard on the shilling lately.
It's been fun.
I don't know what to make it. Yeah,
when there's
a change of brand to a paid shill.
I've been observing a lot and how much Cosmos people see when you make money and they missed out after you told them. It's been quite hilarious.
Well, that's a guaranteed follow, isn't it? When you tell people that they missed out on making money because you made it and they didn't.
It's been like a week and a half and we're like, this thing's like 5 mil market cap. It's a privacy coin.